One billion my jay, reaching a lay my jing upon the mundo, Tanmore on my jay. You're not imagining what from nail and Jakayamak. We must look after each other. Chin majang munyo nyarbol chan mak yuyong warala muning jawal gingar me kanyan muning juram gar mane ngacak paninger kachan mak muning dragonfly kagamak kaginjil maman mak bin pinje pera king ora ga binjirak muning yuyong ni jil ngumak king ora aha,
we are a very oral history nation. Aboriginal culture is passed down through oral history, storytelling, gatherings. And so part of this storytelling time is being able to hear. It is so important to our culture. Unfortunately, Australia still has the worst ear disease rates in the world. Chronic suppurative otitis media is where you're getting discharge out of the ears. The World Health Organization say it's at problematic proportions when it reaches 4%. In Australia, communities vary from 40% right up to 85% of chronic suppurative otitis media. It is appalling that we live in this dichotomy where a first world country has third world health statistics.
I have 6 daughters. Out of the 6 daughters, 3 of them suffered from ear problems. They learned to lip read, body language to get them through.
The long-term effects or the consequences of having ear disease, lack of work, substance abuse, lack of education, all these things all stem from the very crux and the initial part of otitis media, not hearing.
We learned to live with it, I guess. And with my brother, like I can talk from experience there with him, you know, I took him to school all his life and I've seen his struggles throughout school. Tools for life, mate, you know, that's what we taught, tools in life to get through life, and that was one that he missed out on because of that. He wasn't able to, you only taught what you learn, and if you're not hearing, you're not getting the right message, that's all you know.
Ka iyo nguning chakka ngurak nguning nyalo ka nguning kuriyo nguning nyalo kan ge yangal ngan ge bin pendiyo ne ganyan nguning king ngurak karma nguning iyo ganyang ngel.
When we look at some of our Indigenous kids and what the ear disease they get at a very early age. So normally around the 12-month mark we talk about. In normal populations, you're seeing it around 2 to 3 years of age. At 12 months, we all know the first thing babies are doing is listening. They're listening, they're babbling, they're starting to talk. So language gets affected. So by the time they even start going to preschool, they're about 2 years behind on their language and social skills.
Because I've been through that with myself, with my children, and now with my grandson. And it's hard in trying to learn and trying to tell people, you're not stupid, you just got a hearing problem, I can't hear you properly.
If I'm sitting there and like I ask the teacher like to repeat it and she says it again like, and I might ask her again and like she thinks I'm being smart.
They're not paying attention, they must be misbehaving. If they're misbehaving, rather than bring up the front of the room where they can hear, they're put up the back and they're taught the naughty kids. So they end up being classed in a group which is not where they belong.
Self-esteem just goes right downhill. Oh, well, I'll just run with this crowd here. I'll be part of a crowd. I can't be part of that crowd because I know nothing.
Then they start mixing into petty crime. And petty crime, you can't pay the bills for petty crime, but you can't get the representation you need to. So then these people get incarcerated. Incarceration rates, as we know in the Aboriginal population, are up toward the nearly 30% rate compared to our population of this nation, which is 3%. Now, how can that be so overrepresented? When you talk about a sliding doors moment associated with this, at any time in that spectrum, if you can correct the hearing loss, then you're always going to move yourself on a better trajectory. So what if we met a prisoner who was incarcerated and we got their health records out and we traced it back to see when that ear disease first started? I've no doubt you'd find it starting at 12 months, 18 months of age. Around $600 million of Medicare dollars is being spent on Otitis Media in Australia. That shows you how big the problem is on treatment, medications, time off work. As a taxpayer, you should be offended by the amount of money that we have to put in at the end of the spectrum when the dollar put in at the birth or early stage of things is going to rectify this whole situation.
The strength of us in our spine is about our culture and our Aboriginality. People will learn about the past, to live the present, to make a future. And some of those kids haven't got that.
Language and culture is the cornerstone of a person. When they find the importance and the value of their own culture and their language, it actually opens them up and makes them feel valued.
I asked the Prime Minister, what if it was your child and they weren't hearing that well? What would you do to make sure they heard well and got the correct education they required?
Munam ji yung panabulcan, yor malam gugaan mak, nyanyi marga juro mak, yablak mak.